of course, he's jungling, Smite, Flash, no surprise there, and Corki with Ghost and Flash there. And that's for Team Low ELO. Do you want to talk about the other team, Counter Logic Gaming, or shall I do that as well?
Just getting a note there off to YouTube. You guys will see there is a Counter Logic Gaming Eclipse 92. He is actually the player named Double Lift. That's just to clear up confusion for you guys if you haven't been watching the stream. So yeah, we do have Low ELO. Hopefully you've turned on your observer mode there, Mr. Pat. But Low ELO, I mean, we just went over that. I'm sorry. Counter Logic Gaming. Saint Vish is obviously going to be in that jungle with that Smite. A jungling Olaf is definitely something to be fearful of because he is definitely a very strong and very quick jungler when done upright, and you have to know that these guys are doing it right. So we also have Elements on Janna. She's also going to be going for that Clairvoyance and a Cleanse as well, so she really doesn't want to get caught out, especially with a big fat GG arrow to the face, or maybe just a few other damaging skills coming out here from Double Lift or Malzahar. A Cleanse will get rid of that ultimate, so we're not going to see, hopefully, her get caught by that. The typical movement speed stuff does go down here for Ashe, Alistar, as well as Malzahar, and that's going to be the Ghost and the Flash. Now, you can't flash those projectiles anymore, but it's still a heck of a skill to jump around things like trees, because we are here in the jungle. Both teams, they can't see each other, but hey, we can, and flashing to and from the other side of these trees is a big movement advantage. But right now, it does look like Low ELO, they want to find this Olaf. Olaf being very wary. It does not look like he's going to be starting at the blue. Maybe he's going to start off with these wolves, but we still have the entire team here, TwiZ.
So yeah, let's talk about just how strong these guys are right now. And we are going to see a first blood from this. A stun from Taric and a stun from Sion is going to end it right there. And that's exactly what I was going to get into detail about, is just how much stronger of a first blood team we are going to see from Low ELO. And they just proved it right there as they take down Olaf and grab that first blood. And not only do that, they're going to really focus on messing his jungle up, as they're going to let Amumu snag that blue buff.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be throwing a big wrench in Olaf's jungling pattern. Without that blue buff, it's going to be a little bit harder to go from town to town or creep camp to creep camp. He also melted in fairly short order. I think it took a total of maybe 7 seconds to get him down. But a big first blood coming out here. Who did grab that first blood? It is going to be Sion, so that's a big gold boost to him. He could have easily just gone to town and picked himself up a quick advantage, because right now it is going to be a double lift, not Eclipse. I got to get that right. Down here with Elements. And right now, I don't know what Elements is doing. Maybe AFK or disconnected. He's up at that tower, not anywhere near the range here for experience. So not too sure. No, he's moving around now. Maybe just trying to give Eclipse or Double Lift a little bit of an advantage. So in the middle, we do have Big Fat GG taking on Irelia. So Irelia going for that mid, and the solo top is going to be instead that Corki with that Malzahar. Malzahar? Malhazar? No, Malzahar. That's right.
Yeah, Malzahar.
By Hotshot GG.
Yep, and I was really surprised. Malzahar is a pretty solid counter to what Aurelia can do there, so that's why we're seeing Corki being positioned up top rather than Aurelia going up top and taking that solo. She's going to have a much easier time up against Ashe. At the bottom lane, the stronger lane here definitely being Sion and Taric right now. They're going to eventually have the ability to just melt Janna, and that's going to happen early on here. So we're seeing immediately they're forcing Alistar back out of this fight. Alistar already down to 2 bars of health, and he has disconnected.
Yeah. I was going to say, they're not forcing him back. They're just kind of taking advantage of him. So off to a good start. Counter Logic Gaming has given up the first blood, and Double Lift has disconnected. Not too sure what to make of that offhand.
Well, disconnects definitely aren't good. I mean, it seemed like they were having trouble early, but that was with Janna, not with Alistar. But again, back to what I was saying, this bottom lane is very, very strong. A lot of people don't understand the strength that a Taric Sion lane possess. And, well, if CL Gaming or Counter Logic Gaming didn't, they'll definitely understand it by the end of this game, especially with just Janna being forced there to solo it, and hoping that Double Lift will come back and help out the bottom. Of Mumu trying to go for the gank on middle lane. GG quickly realizing what's going on, backing out of the fight here.
That's good. That's good. Map awareness here from GG there in the mid, because he's not tunnel visioning. It was very safe on that. No gank going down. But Amumu, I mean, he still has that blue buff from his first kill, and we still have the other blues still up and running. So at this point, I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Vicious come down and try to snag it. But it's going to be very tight for him, because I'm fairly sure he's going to be using his smite to take out Red, and then he's going to try to go off into a ganking mode. We do have an eyeball right above above him there, so they easily know that he has the red. He's going to get out of that. Okay, no ganks incoming. He is going to play it safe, though, and just kind of duck out of there until that eyeball does wear away. This is the big power of Clairvoyance. I mean, Clairvoyance, we can see the whole map. You can see the whole map. The players, unfortunately, can't. There is Fog of War, and just as a big note here for you, TwiZ, if you click on the Observer mode again, you will see the Fog of War reactivated. So if you ever need to see anything about line of sight, just feel free to go ahead, click that, and you'll show everyone exactly what your team can see. On my part, it's just mostly, you know, everyone's in the middle of their lanes and everyone's creeping.
Yeah, I don't want to go to that yet. I like to focus on being able to cheat in this, which is very nice, knowing where everybody is. But like I said, we are on a 4-minute delay, so I can't start screaming, you know, oh no, Ash, here comes a Mumu, run away, don't be silly. Because guess what? They won't hear me for 4 minutes, and by that time, somebody might already be dead.
I'd hope that they wouldn't be listening to us anyways. They should be focusing on the game. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole entire reason we do have that 4-minute delay, to prevent ghosting and cheating issues like that. It's a fairly rudimentary system, but OwnTV actually has it built into their streaming network service. I believe they're the only ones with it. But you would not believe the pain that we had to go through in the early days of this stuff to, you know, to help ensure people didn't ghost. It was pretty ridiculous stuff because there was no commercial value for it. But that's enough about delay. We are going to go back here a little bit to the game. It's 6.5 minutes in. We do have Double Lift now returning to lane with Janna. He is moving around very nicely this time. Not going to be sitting there AFKing and dying, but he has picked himself up that boots of speed. He has himself the regrowth pendant as well. So between that and his heal, he should have some decent lane dominance, but we do have a flash, a big arrow going into Eclipse's head there from Low ELO, but GG's going to get out of that one A-okay.
Looks like Malzahar being forced back from the top lane. I don't know if he was actually forced back or what, but you notice he's grabbing a couple wards here. He's going to make sure that he plays maybe a little bit of aggressive wards here in the jungle now that he knows that that Amumu has been kind of floating his way up through there. But probably just some defensive stuff at the bottom lane. And let's take a quick look at CS right now as we see Ashe picking up 41 compared to Aurelia's 44. So Aurelia doing a very good job here in middle, fending off this Ashe. And now we do see a gank attempt going for the top lane here. Corki getting ultimated by Malzahar. And now we see St. Vicious coming in with Olaf and just annihilating him as Corki goes down. And this is the kind of early steps that Counter Logic Gaming is going to have to do to come back from that early deficit of 2 kills. So the score now being 1-2. And Malzahar going to be given the opportunity to get a little bit of an advantage here at the top lane.
You know, I'm really glad that you didn't give me a chance to comment because I was about to say Corki, you know, he's one of those heroes. It's a little harder to get to him. I mean, especially comboing up with his, what does he have? He has, yeah, the Ghost and the Flash. Plus his Valkyrie. Very hard to kind of land a kill on him, but very glad I didn't say that because Hotshot pulling out the level 6 ultimate, that single disable, and that is a big reason why people like him because it allows these things like the level 6 gank to go off. And as you did say, I mean, Malzahar is going to be profiting for that pretty decently well. That big extra cash bonus as well, level 7 coming out, so he's going to hold it a little bit over top of Corki, at least for now.
The bottom lane is still struggling here. We see Janna reaching level 5. Alistar still down just a little bit. And I'm trying to see who the farm is going to down here. Looks like the majority of the farm is being given to Janna, who's at 15 right now. I know Alistar trying to catch up a little bit. And then we should be seeing Sion taking all the farm at the bottom lane. Yep, which he is at 47. Tarek only sitting at 4 right now.
And this is all going back to the whole, you know, support champions are there to support your carries, and that is not a new concept whatsoever. And it is really good to see that, I mean, these teams are executing these, you know, decently high-level strats. I mean, Sion with 49 creep kills now. It looks like he's actually going to jump around, and he's going to find St. Vicious. We have Eclipse jumping in as well. Must have been a Clairvoyance that found him. He's going to have to actually get forced to be run off here, but he did land that blue kill before the entire thing went down. So he does have that Crest of the Ancient Golem, so not exactly the most successful gank attempt, but look at that. They're going to turn that into something that they can take to the bank, and they are going to be grabbing themselves that dragon.
Yeah, the thing that actually caught them there was Sion actually was caught by that ward that we seen at the dragon there, and that actually caught him walking his way up the ramp, and Olaf realizing that just pops all of his cooldowns on that blue golem and kind of heads out there. So we see Amumu still playing very aggressive in the middle lane. It looks like he's beginning to try to set himself up for possibly another gank on Ashe, but Aurelia just kind of pushed that lane forward and not going to give him the opportunity to do that. Malzahar already pushed up towards the top tower here. That top tower already at half health. He may be able to do enough damage to get this taken down. I mean, he does have enough cooldowns to push those creeps back if he wants to. Corki trying to make his way up there, but using his Valkyrie to sneak up a little bit further, and along with some of those missile barrages to push Malzahar back.
468 hit points landing on that tower. It's definitely a big candidate right now for the first tower kill of the game. Aurelia is going to be putting down some hurt here onto Big Fat GG. He's going to be forced to back off a little bit, but we do have the counter harass coming out as well. Tarek has now actually gone to town. He picked himself up a Heart of Gold, and I think he was actually going to try to combo there into the mid with Aurelia for a kill with that stun of his. But now on the counter, we do have Corki up top. He also had to go back to town. He was forced back to town by this Malzahar. He did himself a little bit of shopping. He's sitting on a Negatron cloak as well as a Mercury's treads, going very high defensive skills here up against his opponent of Malzahar. 73 current magic resistance labeled onto that. Hotshot has now returned to the lane as well, picked himself up that Catalyst, so we might be seeing a Banshee's Veil come out of him or a Rod of Ages. More likely going to be that Rod of Ages now that I think about it a little bit. But he also has himself that Doran's Ring and another ward. So look at all the wards going down here, Pat, and you got to say, one of the big core concepts of this game is if you own the map and you can see the map, then you are going to win this game. And just so many wards going down this early. It's only been 11 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and I mentioned it to Elements in an interview a while back. I said, you know what, if you're playing Counter-Strike and somebody said, hey, for this much of your gold, you're going to be able to see what's going on through the map, I mean, you would have spent that gold in Counter-Strike to know where the people were set up at bomb site. Hey, same concept here. Spend those wards to see what's going on. We see an Ashe going towards the bottom lane. Looks like it does manage to land on Corki. Now we're seeing the Ghost come out of Hotshot GG. Olaf trying to get in as well. Corki Valkyring away from that, but those guys were completely ready to commit to that fight and take down Corki, who just ate that arrow to the face.
It wasn't quite the bottom lane. It was definitely that mid lane that Ashe sent that through. But yeah, great positioning. It did set up a great combo, but just 1 second too late there from both from both Hotshot as well as Saint Vicious. They nearly had it, but that kind of goes back to what I was gonna say before he died from that first kill, which is with that Valkyrie, Flash, and Ghost, it's gonna be very hard to land combo ganks on him. Scion's up here now with Amumu. They're gonna find Saint Vicious. We do got the ultimates going down. We are in a pool of goo, but we do have the ultimate going down as well. Saint Vicious is going to be picking up that kill on Sexy Fate. Hotshot GG got the assist on there. I don't think, oh, look at that Flash just barely making it out. That little Yordo at 80 hit points is going to be getting out of that. If we had an Ignite, it definitely would have been good night for him. But, taking a kill, reversing the counter and taking a kill here for counter logic, that's going to put us up now to 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2 being the score, and a lot of this emphasis that as we're moving in towards the middle of the game is Malzahar has done a very, very strong job up at the top lane. He is at 82 CS, while Corki's still at 84, so they've pretty much married each other as far as middle and the top lanes go. Scion taking a lot of farm at the bottom, though, 73, and that's that extra little bit of burst damage that we're going to be seeing that basically Alistar and Janna don't necessarily bring to the table. Remember, those guys are both support champions. They don't have a high damage output, and you really start to notice that later in the game. So that means a lot of the emphasis is going to be put on Malzahar, Olaf, and on Ashe to make sure they get enough damage to get through these team fights.
So we're just passing the 13.5 minute mark here, and still no towers have gone down. This top tower here for Low ELO is sitting about 450 hit points. None of the other towers are really that pushed if you just take a quick look around the map. But I have seen, Janna, she's been sinking a lot of gold into wards. We do have this jungle nice and warded. We also have, I do believe that's a Wriggles Lantern ward there by the Baron, and that's been provided here by Saint Vicious. But we are getting to the point where, the beginning phase is going to be winding down. What kind of items do we have coming out here for everyone, TwiZ?
Well, let's take a look here. Olaf building that Wriggles Lantern nice and early there to make sure that he gets those wards put up. Ashe actually choosing to go 3 of the Doran's Blades in the middle, and that's just basically going to help with a lot of the last hitting, as well as some attempted harass on Aurelia, who actually in middle, Aurelia, who's up against Ashe, has built a Sheen. And an early Sheen and boots on Aurelia can mean a lot of trouble, because that's just a lot of progressive damage output she's able to put in. Her skills are not on really high cooldowns, so she's able just to pop in, harass, and back out. kind of taking a peek at Olaf here, who they had actually just flared. Janna, no big items are going to come out there. I'm not going to focus too much on support, who's building support items. Malzahar has picked up that blasting wad, which indicates he's 100% sure going for that Rod of the Ages. As now we move on to LowELO's team here. Sion already picking up that needlessly large rod. Sion has the ability to just farm once it gets to this point. His Death's Caress, which is his little shield that we see here, demolishes creep waves, which gives him a ton of pushing ability that we're going to be seeing at the bottom lane. Also is going to put Janna and Alistar in a very, very passive position, because along with Taric, these guys can just come in here and basically destroy Janna very, very early in a fight if they decided they wanted to go towards that. And Mumu with a couple hearts of gold right now. We see Taric with a heart of gold, and Corki picking up his Negatron cloak and a Sapphire Crystal. So probably going for an early Banshee's Veil is what we're going to see out of him, especially since he's laning against this Malzahar. That Negatron cloak is going to help him hold that lane a little bit better. So there's your items.
Yay, this item report brought to you by National ESL and The TwiZ. But yeah, I mean, it does look like very reactionary kind of items. We have seen Corki building a lot of that magic resist this entire game just to try to counter, you know, all the different damages. And I mean, he did go those Merc Treads just for the stun and you know, the stun, the snare, the taunt reduction, and that's pretty much aimed exactly at his opponent, who is Hotshot. I mean, his ultimate, as we did see, has landed them a kill, almost 2, but he didn't quite get that off. I'm just watching Sexy Fate go down here at the bottom because, I mean, that shield, when it pops, he just gets so many creep kills out of it. 137 ability power already. He's going to be om-nomming everything as well. Now, he does have his glowing hand, so he does have Enrage going, and he is the Lumberjack, so that's why we don't quite see that. And this is something we saw from Amumu a little early. He picked himself up that Oracles. I mean, they obviously are keeping track here of all the different wards going down, as we did see, you know, a lot of wards on a lot of different characters. We've seen a whole bunch placed here by Elements as well. It does look like they are going to be picking up this free dragon. There doesn't seem to be any kind of competition whatsoever.
Yeah, I think at this point, Low ELO knows that with the Sion getting that farm early here, as well as that Amumu ult being up, and these guys having 2 supports, at this point, Low ELO is easily able to take that dragon, and Counter Logic knows that, which is why they're not going to be pushing in and attempting to try to counter that dragon, because these guys just have a lot more damage output at this time, and that's how a lot of this mid-game is going to be. As I mentioned before, it's going to be very reliant on what Ashe, Olaf, and Malzahar can do to get some farm, to make sure that they're going to deliver just enough damage at the end where they can push through these fights. And look at the amount of burst damage. I mean, Olaf and Malzahar alone have just a ton of burst damage between the two, and that's 2 champions you can see drop down there just from a couple skills.
I'm just taking a quick look here at St. Vicious. He's now ding 10, so he's pretty close to getting that 2nd level of his ultimate. But Eclipse is now up here as well. They might be trying to get a big combo out onto Corki. We do have the flash go off with the headbutt, but no, we didn't have the headbutt. Sorry, that was the rampage. The thing.
Pulverize?
Yes, that's it.
Yes, we had the flash pulverize. He attempted to reposition for that headbutt, but we've seen I believe it was a flash, not a Valkyrie, that got him out of that fight in time.
Yeah, so definitely not a headbutt. I really wanted to see a headbutt, which is why I said it, because, you know, throwing in there, getting the pulverize to the headbutt is definitely great position work. But no, again, I don't know why they keep insisting on going on to Corki, because, as I said, he's kind of that harder hero to kill. And this was something I just checked out. We have no less than 9 hearts of gold in this game, TwiZ, and 1 Philosopher's Stone. That is a lot of passive gold per minute that people are now gathering. Is this like a new phase of things? I don't think I've ever seen this many hearts of gold in one game.
Well, you got to look at it from the concept of this. So if Amumu, yeah, he wants to get through his jungle, at this point Amumu can clear his jungle path very, very quickly, which puts him at a point where he's like, hey, you know what, I have no farm to gather. By picking up those hearts of gold, he makes himself so he's going to be able to gank and still gain gold along the way. Also, the hearts of gold, it's armor, so you do get that ability to try to go in for a tower dive. You can get out pretty quickly, and that armor is going to mitigate some of the damage that you're seeing from the towers. So, and what we've seen in return of this is we have seen Amumu out of this jungle quite a bit going for these ganks. We've seen the supports moving in and out, going for ganks quite frequently. Taric's been roaming for the past 8 or 9 minutes. And I think a lot of this fight we're going to see here in about the next 3.5 minutes as Dragon's going to be coming up again. And that's where a lot of this focus is going to be. I think at that time, we'll see how Counter Logic Gaming taking down the top tower. Malzahar is going to kind of float around a little bit here as we see him attempting to go after Corki. Ash arrow, but it's not going to hit. So Malzahar going to be out of here. But back to what I'm saying is I believe Counter Logic Gaming, next time these guys try to go after this this dragon, I believe these guys are going to be ready to try to go in and counter it. I think they've gathered enough farm at this point where they can do that.
Well, I'd hope so, because if they keep letting the whole dragon thing snowball, I mean, we've already gathered 380 global gold to low ELO simply because, you know, 2 free dragon kills. Saint Vicious is actually going to go and not exactly, well, he's not going to counter ward it, but he is going to get rid of that other ward that did go down, so no vision for low ELO for right there. And both junglers, you know, they're very, very similar in their skill sets right now. They both have those Hearts of Golds and the Oracles, but we do have that extra Wriggles Lantern there on Saint Vicious, and you know, he's also clearing his jungles at a pretty decent rate. Now, I did see Big Fat Gigi, he went back to town, he came back already, has himself a BF sword, so I mean, he had that for when they attempted to go here onto Corki, and if that Ash arrow had hit, we would have almost for sure seen a kill between the 2 different disables coming out from both Malzahar and Ash.
Yeah, as far as Malzahar goes, I had almost confirmed earlier once he picked up that blasting wand that we were going to be seeing a Rod of Ages out of him. He's yet to pick that up, and he's picked up the needlessly large rod. So we're probably going to see this built into his Rabadon's death cap. And that Catalyst is most likely going to be built into a Banshee's Veil, because at this point I feel it's a little too late to really try to get into the ROA.
Could be. People throwing us a loop. I did see a Rabadon's completed. Who did I see that completed on? It was Scion. So he's rocking himself 287 ability power. He's picked himself up a Sheen to boot. So he's going to actually be throwing down a lot of hurt, kind of going a little bit hybrid with that Sheen, but it is a very AP dominant build, and he's likely going to be snowballing to, what, 500 or 600 by the end of this match.
Well, not a hybrid item per se. This is what's going to be built into a Lichbane. Now, for those of you that are kind of new to the game, we actually see a lot of action happening middle of the lane, as Scion comes in there and initiates that fight. But if you're not too familiar with the Lichbane item, it is an AP-based item, and what that's going to do is turn his 600 to 700 AP that he builds up later on into true damage on the next proc. So not only do you get an 800 damage stun, an 800 damage nuke, but then you get a 700 damage right-click on top of it, all into a single burst.
So if, you know, single burst of 800 AP followed up by the single burst of 800 AD, that to me is hybrid, but okay, if that's not your definition, then I'll go with that.
I don't consider, I mean, because I consider Lichbane more, it's an AP based item, and it scales off of the amounts of AP, so well, it's not like we're seeing him build Avarice Blades or anything yet.
No, we're not going to be seeing those, I don't think. Nobody here really depends on that crit except maybe Ash, but then again, at the same time, maybe she doesn't quite need it thanks to her passive. We do have the low ELO team out for blood. They have now taken the kill lead. They also have now tied up towers by taking that mid tower away from Big Fat Gigi with that 4-man gank. Ash has now also has a pickaxe to go with that BF sword, and her team is just kind of doing a little bit of roaming themselves, trying to cover the lanes. It does look like Aurelia is going to go up top. We do have Ash headed that way, but Aurelia is going to be putting down some hurt here on the tower. Corki again on the bottom. Actually, this bottom tower is more in danger of going down right now than the top, but it is going to be fairly close, at least half damage up top, and a fairly easily diveable tower down here. Elements has got to be feeling very pressured.
Yeah, it has to be. Janna now coming to make sure that he helps him out. Janna going to continuously shield this and try to make sure that not all that damage fully goes on there. But LowELO is seeing this as a very strong opportunity, knowing that Ash is up top. The only ones that they really truly know that are missing right now is going to be Olaf and Malzahar. And these guys are just going to here take a good look at Scion here. Boom. As soon as that W gets off, you see those creeps just instantly go down, and they're going to get this tower here. And there's not going to be, and even with Malzahar here, there's not going to be anything they can do except for let this fall. So back to what you're talking about, Ash. Ash definitely building that Infinity's Edge. She's going to want that because they need that early damage, but we're going to see her immediately attempt to go defensive right afterwards. She's going to have to get a Banshee's Veil. And actually, these guys grabbing another dragon, and Counter Logic Gaming going to be able to do nothing about that. But Ash is going to have to grab that Banshee's Veil. Otherwise, Scion's going to have that ability just to flash in, stun, drop that W bomb on top of her in one right click, and we're just going to watch her die. So then she's going to be useless. And Scion can do that every single team fight.
Yeah, that's always, I mean, that's always the big danger of nerfing things like the projectile pop, because it does lead to, now we can always guarantee a stun if we're within range. Now, like, the skill shots, not so much, but these targetable stuns, I mean, Tarek has one, Sion has one, we also have, like, the quick disable there from Eclipse with that bandage, although that does kind of, fall under that skill shot category. But I mean, there's a lot of disable. If these guys want to lock down someone, they're gonna. And I mean, just for good measure, let's throw in the Amumu ult just for good measure.
Yeah, and let's look at it as Sion's going to play more of a team-based role here instead of an anti-carry role. He's going to come in right when Amumu's ult goes down, burst that on everybody that's in that ultimate. He's got the range to do that with his W, and all of that damage along with his Q is going to be easy for them to focus it down. Look for Tarek to be really, very, very passive with his stun early on in the team fights to look and see what Malzahar is going to do, so he can make sure he gets that canceled off, so we don't see Corki or Aurelia dropping down early on in one of those team fights, because they're going to be very, very crucial to the damage. I'm almost thinking at this point, I'm leaning more towards Low ELO right now. They're just building a very, very strong point in this game, and I think as far as team comp goes, they're going to be a little bit stronger through this mid game.
Well, it all comes down to how well the ganks go down, because we have a lot of wards, clairvoyance is going down, and we've now increased the number of hearts of gold as well in this game. So, very, very interesting skill builds coming out. Everyone really trying to get those end game items as fast as they can. We are going to get this blue buff. I don't think anyone's quite ready to take on a Baron, especially with both teams up here at this point. It does look like we might commit to a 5-on-5, because we do have double lift, because we do a little bit of scouting, but Sexy Fate has that advantage because he's up on that high ground. We are going to throw out a big Bertha missile there from Achu. I just got that, Achu. But no, it does look like Counter Logic Game is going to be... Oh, they are going to... Whoa, no, Audacity Lucky, what are you doing? Oh, man, he gets combo down in fairly short order with the combo of Malzahar and Ashe. So, I don't know, if they were going for that Baron, that was definitely cut really short there by Counter Logic Gaming. Otherwise, that was just bad luck.
That was a very, very costly mistake for these guys. They weren't going for the Baron buff there. They were going to take that ward down, which they had placed in Baron. Tarek was there trying to take that ward down. So not only does Tarek die, he also is losing his Oracle's elixirs that he had picked up. So that's 400 gold that he's out that he's going to have to be using to replace here.
I think the Counter Logic Gaming really wanted to do something with that 5-on-4 potential, but Low ELO, they did stay together. They are nice and bunched up and defending this mid, where we do still have all 5 Counter Logic Gaming members. What they might have wanted to do is split off at least 1 or 2 down to the south to see if they could put a good amount of pressure down on this bottom tower. But no, they are going to be running around here as a unit. Sion just poking his head out there a little bit, going to see what's up and what's going on. No, it is going to be a Mumu jumping in, but no, we do have that Death Embrace. It does go down. Saint Vicious cannot be disabled, but it doesn't matter because he's going to be dead. Anyways, there goes the Mumu ult. Not exactly timed there with Sion at all, but Hotshot's going to try to get out of that. It's not going to work at all. We are going to have Aurelia chase him down. We do got some kiting going on here from GG, but it's not looking for elements as he's going to get taken down by Achu with that phosphorus bombs, and now it does look like this is going to complete the ace.
Yep, that's that strength that I was just talking to you about that these guys possess in the mid game, and a lot of that's coming from what we're seeing with the stuns from Sion and Tarek. The Sion damage right now is definitely what's going to push these guys through it, along with that AOE burst from Aurelia, and Corki right now with that Gatling gun is just going to be melting people. So look at the advantage we have right now, the score being 3-8, and keep in mind right now, Low ELO has one of the strongest AD carries in the game on their team, and that is Corki. So even in the later game, just with their CC alone, they're set up to win this game.
And now if they can seal this Baron deal to boot, it's definitely going to be a huge pushing potential for Low ELO to capitalize on. They have a lot of gold now, 5 quick hero deaths. And let's see, no triple kills coming out. It was going to be the double. Saint Vicious is going to be throwing out that axe with the Clairvoyance, trying to steal it a little bit, but it's not going to happen as we now advance the global goal to 1,320 here for Low ELO. They have grabbed every dragon. They now have a Baron. They're up in kills and towers. They are in a very, very good position.
Yep, Corki's going to head back to base now, finish up that Man Immune. He did go Banshee's Veil very, very early, which is definitely coming to pay off. Actually, he doesn't go for his Man Immune yet. He's actually finished Black Cleaver with that gold that he's bought. Trinity Force on Aurelia. Very, very nice to see that. Such a strong item on her. You can't spell Aurelia without Trinity Force. Well, actually, you probably can. But I mean, they're 1-in-1 together. Peanut butter and jelly right there. And then she grabs that brutalizer just to shorten those cooldowns a little bit more and have that armor pen along with it. Sion getting very, very close here to being able to finish up that Lich Bane. And when we see that, just remember, he scales nearly, I think it's actually 1-to-1. He scales 1-to-1 with his AP. So we're seeing 400 damage just from AP alone from his Q skill and his W skill. Not to mention, I believe, nearly 400 from those the skills as well. So a lot of burst damage out of him. And I talk about it a lot because I still think at a mid to low ELO level, people still underrate Sion a lot. He's such a strong champion.
Well, back during the regional finals here for the North American realm, because that is what determined these original seedings. Sion, if he wasn't banned, he was usually picked. I think we played 8 games that day, and I mean, I think about 4 of them he was banned, 2 of them he was picked. It was pretty silly. He's definitely a very high tier hero when it comes to these tournaments. Maybe not so much for those normal games or just typical ranked, but yeah, he definitely does some hurt with these AP builds of his. So I don't think you mentioned anything about the support coming out, but Tarek has gone himself an Aegis of the Legion with those 2 hearts of gold, so he's lending another aura to his team, which is just great to see coming out of these support players.
Yeah, Aegis of the Legion is a must-have item. I don't know who's building it for these guys. I don't see Gianna building it up, and I don't see Alistar building it up. So neither one of the key people there building up that Aegis of the Legion. And these guys are attempting, or I should say more than attempting, they're being forced into building a little bit more defensively in their builds right now, which we're seeing a couple more hearts of gold coming up for these guys. We're seeing some Negatron cloaks. Some health items, just some more stuff because they know they need to try to they need to try to draw this out. That's going to be the only chance that they really have winning. Because think about that fight we just seen, how easily that Low ELO beat them.
It looked pretty easy, at least from our vantage point. But hey, I mean, these games, the slightest mistake at the slightest millisecond, I mean, and that's going to be game over. Like these are very high tier teams. They know what they're doing. They're practiced with each other. They definitely have all their aspects down, and they know their heroes inside and out. So one mistake could easily spell the game. And right now, it's not looking very good for Counter Logic Gaming. They are very much on the defensive. They have to change up their build orders a little bit. Look at that Banshee's Veil. Not Banshee's Veil, sorry. But we did have that giant arrow come out from Big Fat, but that's interesting how it didn't stun her. I thought it was a Banshee Veil. What happened there, TwiZ?
We seen the I think I don't know who ate that arrow, but we seen the arrow going in. It was a very short arrow, one that they were going to attempt to initiate on, or maybe even just to try to hold this back. We're going to be looking at Low ELO get this tower to right around half health, which is where they're at right now. Mumu committing himself to the fight right now. Big Fat GG dropping down so quick here. Alistar with the pulverize trying to get back here. All the attention from Low ELO now going on to Saint Vicious, who we see die to this. Amumu going to be taking the tower. The rest of Low ELO going to be finishing it up, and now they're put in a position where they can go through, grab this tower, and possibly inhibit her. They still have a little bit of Baron remaining, and here we go. Malzahar throwing down that puddle, trying to force these guys back out of the fight. Everybody on Low ELO at very, very low health. Tower is down. Alistar coming up with attempts to defend the shield from Gianna onto Alistar, and now all that damage that Low ELO possessed just drops right on top of that cow's head, and there we're seeing this inhibitor go down, and I think at this point, CL Gaming has no real chance of being able to recover from this forecourt.
Well, not if they keep pressing the advantage. They are going to go straight for these Nexus towers. The defense is coming out from Counter Logic Gaming. We do see an ally turret go down. Unfortunately, that bottom turret does seem to have bit the dust, but that's okay because we've done so much damage now to Counter Logic Gaming. They can take a tower, and it's not really going to matter too much. The arrow going out, no, so close, so very close to landing something that they might have been able to grab a combo onto that, but unfortunately, Low ELO, they got some pretty quick reflexes. It just avoided that by the skin of their teeth. The dragon is not up. However, it might actually be up within a few minutes. But right now, yeah, Low ELO, they're going to be backing off a little bit, going to go recoup and regen. And I mean, 11-3. It's a pretty overwhelming gold bonus for them because I'm at 1,770 gold myself. That's how much global gold Low ELO has, and I'm going to say you're at 0.
I'm at 965 right now.
Really? Did you buy anything?
I did not buy anything, so.
Oh right, no. Towers give gold. Quite right.
Yep. So there's some tower gold going on there. Two sets of gold. These guys yet to grab a dragon. And I still think they're
Top.
attempting to hold off here, as we're seeing a lot of action at the top lane, as Amumu being caught by Alistar and Olaf. Amumu trying to run away, bawling his eyes out. Please, please, please don't get me, Olaf. Oh, no. Trying to stun away, but nothing there to grab onto. And finally, after enough bashing and slashing and just destroying of him, he finally goes down there. Poor little guy.
He's built, you know, Ford tough. He really took, I mean, 2 heroes right there just slamming on him, and he's just running around in circles, and they still took their time killing him. Just kind of shows you how well built he is right now. I mean, just take a quick look at his items. 2 Hearts of Gold, the Sunfire Cape, and a Banshee's Veil to boot with the Mercury Treads. I mean, that's a lot of resistances. That's a lot of reductions. And it just kind of really showed there because they took their time killing him.
Low ELO is put in a situation here now. They can either choose to do one of 2 things. They can either turtle it up. Well, actually, not turtle. They can play a little bit passive, gather farms, finish a couple items, get potted up, wait for Baron, grab that Baron, and begin to push. Or they can choose to push now. I think right now they're still going to be just as strong. I mean, with Baron, they're a little bit stronger. I still don't think they're going to have a problem taking down Counter Logic Gaming. But I would not let this Ashe get too farmed up, as she has picked up her Infinity's Edge and she's going straight towards more damage as we see her grabbing that pickaxe.
At this point, you know, building a little bit more defensive probably isn't going to add anything to the game. So yeah, she is going to go straight for more damage, which is arguably what the team needs. Right now, we do have big combos from Low ELO that go down onto Big Fat GG, so maybe a little bit better positioning will help them out. But no, we are going to find elements there in the brush. He's not going to go back to town at all. It does look like Baron is back up, and they're going to do exactly what you said. They have all those new items. You got the Ashe Hawk shot going out, so they do know it is going to go down. Maybe they can finish it off, maybe they won't, but they do have a ward there. I'm not too sure anyone actually has oracles here on Counter Logic. They don't. We do have Amumu going in though, but we do have flashes and movement speeds going down. We don't have an ultimate coming out. He is going to be trying to kite with Big Fat GG. He's going to be trying that, but we do have Saint Vicious taking the brunt of the Low ELO strike force. We do have that ultimate get out, but we only did grab elements out of that, but it does look like Aurelia was able to combo down Ashe, no matter how careful that positioning was. Elements dropping as well, and that's going to be Malzahar left to do a solo job defending. We didn't lose anyone again, but so 3 kills there. It does look like Alistar has come back into the loop. I'm not too sure it's going to be enough to defend.
Yeah, one thing that you might have noticed there, that fight would have been much sooner had Sion gotten his burst off there, but Malzahar grabbing him through the bush. And looks like, wow, Aurelia immediately going after Malzahar, who's actually managed to make it back there. Both towers are going down, and that's not going to be a problem. Inhib going to down. GGs are being taught out, and speaking of GG, down goes Hotshot GG as they have gone in on it. But like I was talking there, Malzahar grabbing that Sion from up and over the bush and actually getting through that shield and holding him out of that fight. Otherwise, that fight would have just been a blowout like we had seen in the other ones, just instantly over if that burst damage was there. But let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, that was the first game of the week here, guys, between Low ELO and Counter Logic Gaming. Low ELO taking that lead 1-0, and I do believe we do have another game, but let's confirm with the teams. I know we started late, but I'm fairly sure we're still going to be up for another game. So there you go, guys. Both myself, FourCourtJester, and TwiZ thanking you here for game number 1, and we're going to go on to see if we can get a game number 2 going.